the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, President Buhari commissions Dangote 650,000 barrels per day refinery in Lagos. Presidential Tribunal dismisses PDP LP's request for live coverage. Federal government targets recruitment of 25,000 community health extension workers by 2030 to improve reproductive, maternal, newborn child and adolescent health. And on the foreign scene, 10 dead, 37 critically ill in South Africa cholera outbreak. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Eugenia Abu. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has been described as a significant milestone for Nigeria's economy and a game changer for the downstream petroleum products market in Africa. Government officials, top business executives, and industry players made this known during the commissioning of the 650,000 barrels per day refinery in Lagos by President Muhammadu Buhari. Trust TV reports.
Onstream of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery is expected to mark Nigeria's exit from the League of Oil-Rich Nations, which are heavy importers of petroleum products. Although production of petroleum products is not expected from the plant until later in the year, the completion of Africa's biggest oil refinery and the world's biggest single-train facility is projected to create a market for $21 billion per annum of Nigerian crude. The Dangote refinery, which has the capacity to process 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day, is anticipating the arrival of its first crude batch in June. Given this processing capacity, the refinery is more than able to meet all of Nigeria's domestic fuel consumption, which is about 450,000 barrels per day, whilst the excess production will be available for export. Speaking at the occasion, attended by presidents from Ghana, Togo, Niger, Senegal, and a representative of the president of Chad, President Buhari said the refinery will help Nigeria to achieve self-sufficiency in refined products.
Our government, therefore, took the decision to focus attention on creating an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive and fill the enormous gap in investment, not only in infrastructure, but also in all critical sectors.
Africa's richest man and the president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, said the refinery is the fulfillment of a long-held dream and the product of the group's corporate vision, driven by its mission to produce what the nation consumes and to promote self-sufficiency in the basic needs of the Nigerian people, while competing globally in areas of comparative and competitive advantage.
The refinery will also make available to our industries vital raw materials for a wide range of manufacturers in the plastics, pharmaceuticals, food, beverages, packaging, construction, and many other industries.
Other African presidents and stakeholders also expressed their joy on the epoch-making event.
Active management of these resources will depend to a large extent whether we make it or not. And I'm confident establishments like the Dangote Refinery and petroleum other companies will help us realize this need as quickly as possible.
Over 150,000 or so direct and indirect jobs that will be created are not for 65-year-olds and not for 55-year-olds. They are jobs for our youth, our young leaders that are in their 20s and in their 30s, and for them to believe that indeed Nigeria is a place for them.
Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals is designed to maximize gasoline production, which will account for 53% of the production capacity.
In the meantime, Aliko Dangote says the first product of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals will be in the market before the end of July, beginning of August this year. The president of Dangote Industries Limited stated this while giving the welcome address at the inauguration of the 650,000 BPD refinery in Lagos State on Monday. According to him, the accomplishment is to enable Nigeria to eliminate what he described as the tragedy of import dependency and stop once and for all toxic substandard petroleum products from being dumped in the Nigerian market. The facility is expected to produce premium motor spirit, petrol, diesel, automotive gas oil, aviation jet fuel, and dual-purpose kerosene DPK, among other refined products.
First, beyond the constant availability of a high quality fuel for our transportation sector, the refinery will also make available to our industries vital raw materials for a wide range of manufacturers in the plastics, pharmaceuticals, food, beverages, packaging, construction, and many other industries. Second, while the refinery operation and ancillary businesses will generate massive job opportunities, downstream more absorptive capacity for labor in the hundreds of thousands. Third, once our plant is fully commissioned and it is on stream, we expect that at least 40% of the capacity will be available for export, and this will result in significant foreign exchange earning into the country.
In a related development, experts have predicted that the 650,000 BPD Dangote refinery will end Nigeria's subsidy regime. Trust TV's Chamun Dabeng also reports that the Dangote refinery has the capacity to meet 100% of Nigeria's local demand once it hits full capacity and still have enough to export to other countries.
As the nation celebrates Dangote Refinery's arrival on stream, experts are hopeful that this may signify the end of the subsidy regime, which has proved difficult to end over the past few decades. The issue of subsidy has become more of a menace to Nigeria's greater economic development. In 2022, the nation spent $10 billion in subsidizing fuel and another $6.5 billion budgeted till June of 2023, after which the subsidy regime is expected to come to an end. However, it is not clear whether the incoming administration will stay with the timeline of ending subsidy.
It's not going to be a good omen for the incoming government, because by the time the incoming government removes subsidy, immediately there will be crisis, everything will go up, there will be inflation.
According to the president of the Association of Nigerian Energy Economists, Yinka Omorogbe, Nigeria has never needed subsidy.
We don't need a subsidy at all, but the subsidies does not affect Dangote's refinery, to the best of my knowledge, because he's selling essentially at import parity. So he's not affected by it. Did we need the subsidy in the first place? Who knows? Do we need the subsidy now? No. Have we needed it for years? No. It's been so opaque and it has always lacked clarity. Nobody knows who or where the money is going. What we do know is that we are subsidizing the entire region because our oil is just flowing out and is the cheapest in the region. So, of course, it makes sense for anybody to bring in Nigerian oil and sell it outside. So it is a very unsatisfactory and sad situation.
With the plethora of challenges which have hampered the production and growth of Nigeria's crude oil sector, can the Dangote refinery bring the change the country so desperately needs?
It will, to a large degree, debottleneck this importation racket that we have experienced over the last few decades, since the refineries have not been able to work properly.
Though the Nigerian government owns 20% equity in the Dangote refinery, experts say the federal government should also take a cue from the investor to effectively revive and manage its own refineries for the economic benefit of Nigeria. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal, sitting in Abuja on Monday, has dismissed applications of PDP and Labour Party presidential candidates Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, seeking live broadcasts of the tribunal's proceedings for lack of merit. Chairman of the tribunal, Justice Haruna Zamani, upheld the submission of Tinubu and that of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that the application is unnecessary. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, had filed an application on May the 8th for an order to allow the live coverage of the daily court proceedings on the case they brought against the president-elect Bola Tinubu following the February 25th election. The Labour Party LP and its presidential candidate Peter Obi followed suit with a similar application asking that proceedings of the tribunal be televised. However, a week later, Tinubu opposed the application for a live broadcast of the proceedings of the election petition, describing it as an abuse of court process.
Well, there's no setback here. The court, in its wisdom, decided that the subject of our application, i.e. the live streaming and open telecast, is not in any way connected with the merits of our petition. The petition is separate, it's ongoing. The application did not succeed to have the televised version of the proceedings relate to the entire world.
We are not holding back. We cited an authority. It's a decision of this court. If you listen to the arguments, contentions, and so on, some people think it's mandatory. The decision we have submitted says it's discretionary. So that's if there is a decision of the court indicating that whether or not to consolidate is discretionary, then either way will be satisfied.
And still staying with election petition tribunals, Justice P.T. Kwaha of the Bauchi Election Petition Tribunal has adjourned pre-hearing on the case filed by the APC, their governorship candidate, challenging the victory of the PDP at the 2023 governorship election in the state. Trust TV's Adamu Imam reports that representatives of political parties and security agents were present during the pre-hearing of the case. Here's that report.
The outcome of the 2023 general elections has been greeted by litigations across state in Nigeria as voters continue to express dissatisfaction with results that were announced. Bauchi State is not an exception. At the tribunal, the first pre-hearing of the case was entertained by Justice P.T. Kwaha and other two judges. The defendants, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, responded to journalists after the sitting.
Election that we can boldly say that the BVAS machine and the IREV worked perfectly well. We have looked at all the results, we've compared everything, and we can boldly say that this was an election well conducted. So we are very happy that all these documents, all the evidence will be made available before the tribunal. And the tribunal has judiciously allocated time today for all these matters. So we are coming back on the 31st of May, then for continuation and conclusion of the pre-hearing, then we'll go into the actual hearing of the matter. The petitioners, they say they need 4 weeks. And we just took 10 days to defend. So we wait for them. We are very ready for them.
To call our witnesses, time to go for break, and days to open and close our cases. For us, we will need 10 days to call our witnesses. The petitioners will take 4 weeks because the bulk is on their shoulder. They brought us here. So that's how much I can tell you.
APC's lead counsel, J.O. Olatoke, represented by Hakim Afolabi, said the party is confident of winning the case and demanding 4 weeks to present witnesses. However, there was anxiety at the tribunal among party supporters who were chanting solidarity songs as they trooped en masse to witness proceedings. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Labour Party says its doors are open to any candidate aspiring to clinch the leadership of the 10th National Assembly as long as their ideas go along with the ideals of the party. Noel Sampson reports that leadership of the party said this in Abuja.
National Secretary of the Labour Party, Umar Farouk Ibrahim, has said the party will not impose any candidate or the 8 senators-elect and 35 members-elect of the House of Representatives who are members of the party as jostle for the leadership of the 10th Assembly intensifies.
However, we have briefed our members and we have given them the cardinal points and our area of concern where we wish to have a purposeful leadership in the 10th Assembly. And we've given them pre-ham to choose among those ones that they are, they are being hobnobbing. We didn't interfere.
The party is holding an orientation program for its elected members to prepare them on what is expected of them.
The following topic will be adequately discussed. 1. Impactful leadership and good governance. 2. Building synergy for the new Nigeria of our dream. 3rd, people-oriented program in a parliamentary representation. And number 4, law-making constitution and democracy. All geared towards the Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended.
The Labour Party is currently enmeshed in a crisis between Julius Abure-led executives and Lamidi Apapa-led faction. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A civil rights activist come lawmaker, Senator Ubasani, will be inaugurated on May 29th to succeed Nasir El-Rufai as governor of Kaduna State. Could he maintain Governor El-Rufai's tempo of urban renewal in the state? In our series on Governors to Watch, Bello Musa profiles the man who will take over Sir Kashim Ibrahim House, Kaduna.
Born in Kaduna State, Senator Ubasani, who is the incumbent senator representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District in the 9th Assembly and the governor-elect of Kaduna State, has been in the public space for years due to his antecedents and struggles right from a young age. He was a civil rights activist fighting for the emancipation of the citizens and the protection of democracy in Nigeria. The governor-elect crossed paths with many political allies like Yusuf Hamisu, popularly known as Merago, who shared some of the political struggles of the Senator Ubasani right from the military regime.
Right from his young age as a student and also as a young person, he has been engaged in the struggle towards the emancipation of the common man and also ensuring that the democratic space is expanded and also assured in Nigeria. If you know, we came from the history of military dictatorship, and right from the 90s, he has been involved with the Human Rights Committee and also the democratic struggle towards ensuring that we have a democratic dispensation in place. So he has been participating in different political struggle. He was a member of the National Conscience Party, which was led by the late legendary Chief Gani Fawehimi.
Besides his struggles in the political arena and the civil society, Senator Ubasani acquired vast experience in both public and private sector that prepare him for the 9th Assembly and for his eventual emergence as the governor-elect of Kaduna State.
Well known also in Nigeria for his performance in the 9th Senate. He achieved so much more than any other person in the history of Kaduna State who has been to the Senate has done. He has quite a number of bills to his credit, bills that are meant to, improve the quality of life of Nigerians.
Ubasani emerged the governor of Kaduna State after defeating his closest contender, Muhammad Isa Ashiru of the PDP, in a keenly contested election. The leading opposition party in the state, the PDP, is already at the elections tribunal challenging the legality of the polls. However, for supporters of the APC, May 29 is sacrosanct. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
A federal high court in Kano has restrained further action against the embattled majority leader of the House of Representatives, Alhassan Ado Doguwa. The court, presided over by Justice Muhammad Yunusa, on Monday held that it has jurisdiction to hear and grant the 500 million naira bail on ex parte application. It also held that the culpable homicide and other charges, including criminal conspiracy against Doguwa before the Kano Chief Magistrate, was unconstitutional. Delivering judgment on the motion on notice filed by Doguwa to enforce his fundamental human rights, Justice Yunusa held that the Chief Magistrate Court lacked the jurisdiction to preside over any charge bordering on criminal conspiracy. Justice Yunusa equally cited Section 251, Section 1, which exclusively grants the Federal High Court jurisdiction to hear cases on firearms as contained in the charges filed against Doguwa. The judge, however, added that granting Doguwa bail was not meant to prevent him from trial, but that due process must be followed. Doguwa's counsel, Nureinu Jimo, SAN, had argued that Doguwa was detained by the police unlawfully and against his right to liberty and freedom as allowed under several provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Dissatisfied with the earlier order of the court that granted Doguwa bail, police prosecutor A.B. Sali had queried the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court to exercise the orders, insisting that the action of Justice Yunusa amounted to gross abuse of the court process. But delivering judgment on Monday, Justice Yunusa held that Doguwa ought not to have been remanded in the correctional facility in the first place because he was not arraigned and properly charged, adding that police argument on holding charge before the lower court was not recognized by the Constitution of the land. Hundreds of youths under the leadership of Plateau Youth Council on Monday morning staged a peaceful protest against the recent killing of over 100 people, including women and children, in the villages of Mangu local government area of the state. The youths, who gathered in their numbers, condemned the incident and registered their total displeasure and rejections of the continued loss of lives, particularly of women and children, as well as property worth millions of naira. Ado Musa completes the report.
These are youths who have gathered in their numbers at the Federal Secretariat Junction to register their displeasure over the recent killing of their loved ones in the villages of Mangu local government area. On Tuesday last week, gunmen invaded some communities of the local government area and killed more than 100 people, a situation that was condemned within and outside the state. While leading the peaceful demonstration, the chairman of the group, Sunday Adas, accused Fulani of launching the attacks, adding that youth are not going to tolerate any more attacks in the state. The group also blamed personnel of Operation Safe Haven, a security task force tasked with maintaining peace in the state, for not responding quickly to the attacks.
The commander is compromised and therefore servicing a particular interest in the ongoing killings of the natives of Plateau State. Otherwise, how can one explain the belated, feeble, and ineffective responses of the Operation Safe Haven in the face of credible and abundant early warning signals and distress calls placed on the operations?
Reacting to the accusation of being responsible of the attack, the state chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Magban, Nuru Abdullahi, denied the allegation, adding that such insinuations are unfounded.
They allege that it was launched by Fulani. For the past 20 years, it was alleged suspected Fulani. Any idiom iota under the sun, they alleged suspected Fulani herdsmen. Had it been security are on their feet doing well, this thing could have been is a preventable problem. But security doesn't do their work. From the first time, the first quarrel between a farmer and a herder, the security are aware. The commissioner of police is aware. The commander of Operation Safe Haven is here, is aware. The director of SSS are all aware of this.
Over 100 people were killed in Mangu General area, while properties worth millions of naira were destroyed in the latest attacks. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
And still on security matters, the Delta State Police Command has confirmed the killing of 2 members of a vigilante group at Umutu community in Okwani local government area of the state. Deputy Superintendent of Police Bright Adafe, who confirmed the killings, said no arrest has been made. The two vigilante members, he said, were killed while trying to foil kidnapping of some persons in the community. A source in the community said one of the vigilantes also sustained gunshot injuries, adding that the gunmen kidnapped 3 persons last Friday after they invaded the riverside in the community. He said following the kidnapping incident, vigilante groups mobilized, combed the bushes and rescued the 3 kidnapped victims. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we take a look at how Katsina State is constructing infrastructure for Ruga program. Stay with us. Thank you for rejoining us. This is News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. President Buhari commissions Dangote 650,000 barrels per day refinery in Lagos. And Presidential Tribunal dismisses PDP LP's request for live coverage. And moving on to more stories now, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has deposed traditional rulers of Piriga, Jonathan Paragwa Zamuna, and Arak Chiefdom, retired General Aliyu Iliya Yama, with immediate effect. The State Commissioner of Local Government, Umma Ahmad, disclosed this in a statement on Monday. The statement said the district head of Garun Kurama Babangida Sule will oversee the affairs of Piriga Chiefdom pending the appointment of a new chief, while the council secretary has been directed to initiate the process for the appointment of a new chief. Gomna Amadu The Council Secretary of Arak Chiefdom will oversee the affairs of the chiefdom and also initiate the process for the appointment of a new chief, the statement added. The commissioner said the state government found the response of General Ilia Yama to the query regarding his appointment of 4 district heads unacceptable, contrary to the one approved for his chiefdom. She said the deposition of Jonathan Zamuna follows the recent communal clashes between the Gure and Kitimi communities of Piriga Chiefdom in Lere local government area and its non-residents within the chiefdom. At the weekend, El Rufai had vowed to keep sacking people and demolishing structures till the 11th hour. The governor will exit office next Monday after serving 2 terms. As part of measures towards delivering on the mandate of primary health care centers at community level, the Federal Ministry of Health, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, has launched a community-based health research, innovative training and services program, CRISP, to leverage rural posting of resident doctors, medical officers, skilled birth attendants, such as nurses and midwives, to improve the quality of services. This is aimed at ensuring equitable distribution of skilled health workers at the primary health care centers across the 774 local government areas in the country. Here's that report.
Barely days to the end of the Muhammadu Buhari's administration, the plague to revitalize the dwindling primary healthcare sector as driven by the Minister of Health, Osagie Ehanire, as well as the promises of creating more healthcare centers at the community level from 3,000 to about 10,000, a goal that is far from being actualized within the 8-year reign of the administration. The ministry is, however, focusing on making available skilled health workers targeted at improving reproductive, maternal, newborn, child and adolescent health, amongst other health services within the benefiting communities.
To create awareness, and draw attention to balancing health care, not to focus only on tertiary, but look at secondary and primary. And advocacy to the governors, to the local government chairmen, traditional rulers, to also demand their own PHC in their area.
The federal government, however, said that the lack of human resource for health is a challenge bedeviling the primary healthcare centers in the country.
It's a call for action for all stakeholders and the incoming administration to build on what they have put on ground.
It, however, intends to optimize the high-quality workforce in tertiary institutions to help the primary institutions that are short-staffed through training, practical research, with a target of enrolling community health extension workers in the next 7 years, starting with recruitment of 3,806 before the end of 2023 and 25,000 by 2030 in a bid to continue the objectives of the CRISP project.
Providing the right environment for medical doctors, giving them the right kinds of incentives to do their work, we feel will also help in reducing brain drain out of the country. We're also using this opportunity to recruit additional nurses, midwives that are very critical for making sure that pregnancy and childbirth are safe.
On funding, the project is a multi-sectoral approach with governments at all levels and donor partners pledging supports for more investments in the PHCs.
This program came at the right time when WHO Nigeria has been awarded with a grant of £2 million by the government of the United Kingdom to support Nigeria to strengthen its health workforce toward achieving UHC.
The intervention focuses on increasing, retaining and improving the quality, adequacy, competence and distribution of a committed multidisciplinary primary healthcare workforce that includes facility outreach and community-based health workers supported through effective management supervision and appropriate compensation. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The leadership of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has suspended its one-week warning strike, which it embarked upon on Wednesday, May 17th. President of the association, Dr. Emeka Orji, told Trust TV via WhatsApp message that the association suspended the action for 2 weeks after reaching some agreement with the government on Friday. He, however, stated that the doctors will meet again on June the 2nd to review progress made with the agreement signed, after which the association will decide on their next line of action. Trust TV earlier reported that the resident doctors and the federal government reached an agreement over the 5-day warning strike embarked upon by the association. NARD began a 5-day warning strike on May the 17th to press home its demands after a 14-day ultimatum to the government lapsed. The doctors are demanding, among other things, the payment of all salary arrears for their members, as well as the immediate upgrade of infrastructure in public hospitals. And to education now, direct entry candidates are protesting against the decision of the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board to conduct another university tertiary matriculation examination, UTME, for candidates who have already acquired diploma certificates or its equivalent to pursue their degree programs. JAMB had on Thursday last week announced that henceforth all direct entry candidates who are seeking admission into tertiary institutions must write UTME like new applicants who are also seeking admission for the first time. This development is not welcomed by the direct entry candidates, as Ado Musa now reports.
Before the new development, direct entry candidates will only fill application forms for admission into the tertiary institutions to pursue their degree certificates without any pretest. But with the new development, the candidates have to take a preliminary trial before being admitted into the higher institutions. Some direct entry candidates in Jos who have already applied for the 2023-2024 admission say it is unfair for them to sit for UTME before getting admissions, considering the years they have spent to obtain diploma certificate or its equivalent. The candidates, however, call on the board to rethink and consider their A-level results as a basic requirement for the admission. A lecturer at the University of Jos, Professor Abdullahi Dakas, says JAMB as the admission body has power to modify their mode of admission, adding that the decision is a welcome idea.
You see, JAMB is a body that has the mandate to conduct admission into tertiary institutions in the country. And I think with that mandate, I think they have the right to modify their modes of admission. For me, it's a welcome development.
Asked whether the advanced result obtained by the candidates is not relevant, Professor Dakas has this to say.
The fact that the diploma they have obtained or the IJMB they have obtained is not relevant. No, that is not, I think, what JAMB is trying to say. Of course, going through diploma or IJMB is a program that runs for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, as the case may be. So for a candidate to have gone through a diploma or IJMB, you wouldn't say that it's of no relevance, because you would have learned something, you must have achieved something. So, but I think subjecting them to another scrutiny by conducting another examination, it shouldn't be a worry. It shouldn't be a worry for anybody.
JAMB says the new development is part of the measures to curb the malpractices already identified with direct entry applications. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
There is growing concern over the high cost of rent in Gombe, a fast-growing state located in the heart of the northeast. Some house agents and tenants who spoke to Trust TV in the capital attributed the rent increase to high demands due to influx of people from neighboring northeastern states. Ibrahim Ismail now reports.
Demand for accommodation is considered very high in Gombe State Capital, northeast Nigeria. Tenants with experience of renting apartment in other states testify that the price is higher in Gombe.
It's not been long I came to Gombe. I came to Gombe like 3 months ago. And when I compared the house rent in Gombe here to that obtained in Bauchi, I found out the house rent here in Gombe is a little bit higher. It's a little bit high, you know, it's higher than what is obtainable in many states. I don't even know why. Maybe it's because Gombe is more commercialized than other places. Maybe that's why.
Ina 80,000 naira per annum. It is okay like this, but it is a remote area. Water scarcity and high cost of living is the problem. Rent is cheaper in Bauchi because life is simple there. Pastor Dan lives in rented apartment at Labour Quarters, Gombe. He pays 350,000 naira per annum, but he was shocked when his landlord jacked the price to 600,000 naira, an increase of about 90%.
I used to pay 350, but now they say 600,000. And the house is not renovated. It's not. There are so many beautiful houses that have a lot of facilities that even pass that one. But I don't know why. Is it because the location is in Tumfure, Labour Quarters? I don't know. So I have to go and look for another place.
Property agents say the rent hike is not unconnected to the high demand of accommodation in Gombe, influenced by the rapid growth and development in the state.
Gombe is a state that is developing in time, and it's a place that everybody like to stay because of the development. So if you compare like Adamawa or Bauchi, now some people when they come to Gombe State, they used to like the environment of Gombe and they used to appreciate the plans of the Gombe State. That is why the state is developing in time, and some of the things that we are doing like marketing or all these things that we are doing, people are buying it and people are taking it on rent in time.
Although some tenants complain of high cost of rent in Gombe, other tenants and agents pointed that the cost of an apartment depends on its features and location. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
The clamor for the dredging of rivers Niger, Benue and Kaduna to check perennial flooding has been described as a huge project that cannot be handled by the federal government alone, except with the intervention of foreign donors. The managing director of Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPADEC, Abubakar Yerwa, stated this at the 2023 stakeholders meeting in Ilorin, where he announced that it could cost the government $20 billion. Here's that report.
Every year, communities located around flood-prone areas in the country suffer economic human losses. The clamor for the dredging of rivers such as River Niger, Benue and Kaduna are being preferred as solutions at several events. The Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Commission is again gathering in Kwara State to rub minds with stakeholders on the way forward. The Kwara State government official at the occasion repeats the call for the dredging of the rivers for lasting solution, while the traditional ruler of one of the 5 local governments affected in Kwara calls for the convening of a multi-stakeholders meeting for mapping of affected areas.
Flood is an age-long problem in Kwara North especially, and there is no peace of mind in the community during the rainy season. Large hectares of farmland and houses in the 5 local governments of Kwara North, particularly Patigia and Edu, were submerged. As a result of the flood and erosion, open defecation and dumping of refuse has become a common practice within those communities.
Multi-stakeholder platform must be institutionalized, and all the people mentioned, NEMA, SEMA, all of them, traditional institution, and so on and so forth, should be represented. The meeting should be quarterly, should be made as inexpensive as possible. Notes should be taken. There are many things that will come up in that meeting that when you coordinate effectively, you spend less resources and get much done.
Responding, the managing director of the commission says the estimated cost of dredging the rivers during the Shehu Shagari era was $2 billion, which he noted must have gone up 10 times higher now. This, he added, is beyond the federal government except foreign donors intervene.
Dredging of River Niger and River Benue and River Kaduna, as the case may be, has always been the case, repeatedly suggested in all the states we have visited. We have visited about 5 states including Kwara. And in almost all the states, they are asking for dredging.
To mitigate the impact of the 2023 flood prediction, the Commission says it will embark on a forestation program in each of the 5 local governments affected in the state.
Katsina State Government is constructing schools, hospitals and veterinary services for the 12 local government communities in the front line of insecurity as part of efforts to settle nomadic pastoralists in one place to guarantee security in the state. Abdullahi Ahmadi reports that already the first phase of the program has been completed and handed over to the local councils as well as traditional rulers of the affected local government areas.
The government is expending over 6 billion naira given to it by the Buhari-led federal government under the Ruga program aimed at resettling herders at a particular place. In Katsina State, the affected local governments are Jibia, Basari, Safana, Damusa, Kankara, Faskari, Sabua, Dandumi, Tuzuma, and Kurifi, as well as Musawa and Matazu. The Ruga program also sought to provide education, health care delivery services for both the herders and their herds, as well as create a conducive environment for them to live a decent lives. The committee, while taking over the projects from the contractors in the affected local councils, calls for judicious utilization of the facilities. This program is not for anybody else but for the herders. It is targeted at educating your children, provide health care delivery services for both the herders and your herds. As such, I urge you to embrace it wholeheartedly. Kindly use these facilities judiciously. Similarly, the second phase of the Ruga program, which comprises provision of enough grazing reserves and dams in the affected local governments, has also commenced. We, the inhabitants of this area, want to assure you that we will make judicious utilization of these facilities, extend our messages of appreciation to Governor Masari for this wonderful project. This will go a long way in boosting our activities. God bless Nigeria. However, observers say this huge investment requires adequate sensitization of the relevant stakeholders to understand the concepts and take ownership of the projects, and anything short of that may likely scuttle the program. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching Trust News Hour. We will be back after the break. Do stay.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England's squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Thank you for rejoining us. Telecommunications operators have adopted the Nigerian Communication Commission's approval of a unified and structured supplementary service data USSD for all mobile networks in the country. The development comes against the Nigerian Communications Commission's approval of unified USSD codes for all mobile networks in Nigeria. The implementation commenced on May 18th, 2023. In perspective, the unified USSD becomes the only way to recharge, purchase airtime, and check mobile networks. In March 2023, the Commission informed all concerned parties to migrate and fully implement the unified USSD codes by May 17th, 2023. Time now to join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, says the Dangote Group has paid back 70% of the loans it took to construct an oil refinery. Emefiele spoke at the commissioning of the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery in Lagos on Monday. The CBN boss said the refinery was initially estimated to cost just about $9 billion, but the project cost escalated and was eventually completed with a total of $18.5 billion. The amount, he said, constituted 50% equity investment by Dangote and 50% debt financed by banks. Emefiele said the commercial loan component of the project was financed majorly by domestic banks, while the rest was provided by foreign banks. He added that the CBN also partnered with Dangote Group to ensure successful completion of the project by providing about 125 billion naira for domestic currency requirements, while also ensuring that availability of foreign exchange to pay for imported equipment. Nigeria's foreign exchange supply through the official window has increased to $15.2 billion in 2022, according to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria. This represents a 17.7% increase from the $12.9 billion recorded in 2021 and a 46.4% increase from the $10.4 billion in 2020. The official window comprises the Wholesale Dutch Auction System WDAS/Retail Dutch Auction System RDAS, the Interbank Market, the Bureau de Change BDC Market, and the Investors and Exporters window, as well as the Small and Medium Enterprises SME and Invisible segment. The WDAS and RDAS recorded zero supply after the CBN suspended this segment in February 2015. The Interbank also recorded zero supply because the CBN merged this segment with the I&E window in August of 2017. The BDC market recorded zero supply as the CBN stopped selling forex to BDC operators in July of 2021, citing abuse and illegal activities. Finally, the average retail price of automotive gas oil, popularly known as diesel, paid by consumers increased by 28.49% in 1 year as households and businesses battle to maintain operations. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), diesel prices rose year on year from 654 naira to 842 naira per litre in April of 2023. On a month-on-month basis, it increased by 0.17% from 829 naira per litre in January. According to NBS data, states with the highest average product price in April 2023 include Adamawa at 918 naira, Bauchi at 934 naira, and Borno at 900 naira per litre. On the other hand, the lowest price was recorded in Bayelsa with 708 naira, followed by Kebbi with 773 naira, and Anambra with same price at 773 naira. The zonal representation of the average price of diesel shows that Northeast has the highest price of 895 naira 42 kobo, while South has the lowest price of 807 naira 59 kobo when compared with other zones. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
Thank you, Chiamaka, for that report. And on the foreign scene, an outbreak of cholera has killed at least 10 people in South Africa's most populous province of Gauteng. According to reports, at least 95 people have since last Monday visited hospitals showing cholera symptoms. in Hammanskraal, an area north of the capital, Pretoria. Lab tests on Sunday confirmed at least 19 were cases of cholera, while it added that 37 people were admitted in critical condition. The victims included a 3-year-old child and 9 adults. Nomantunkomo Ralehoko, the provincial head for health, has urged the public to take extra precautionary measures and maintain proper hand hygiene. The city of Tshwane is warning residents of Hammanskraal and surrounding areas not to drink water from their taps, adding that water tankers were being supplied. And some sports news now. Mark Cavendish, one of Britain's most successful cyclists, will retire at the end of the season. In 2021, he equaled the legendary Eddie Merckx record of 34 Tour de France stage victories. Cavendish enjoyed a glittering career as a sprinter, taking victories on the flatter, faster stages of races, particularly in the Grand Tours. He has won 161 races since 2005 and 2 Green Point jerseys at the Tour. Cavendish's other major achievements include an Omnium silver medal at the 2016 Rio Olympics, the 2011 Road World Championships rainbow jersey, the 2009 Milano Sanremo Monument One-Day Classic, 16 stage wins in the Giro and 3 in the Vuelta a España. He is currently riding for Astana, Kazakhstan in the Giro, which ends in Rome on Sunday. Miami Heat are within 1 win of the NBA Finals after a comfortable 128-102 victory over the Boston Celtics in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat lead 3-0 in the best-of-7 series, thanks to 29 points from point guard Gabe Vincent, and host Game 4 on Tuesday, 1:30 BST Wednesday. The winners will face either the Denver Nuggets or the Los Angeles Lakers. The Nuggets are 3-0 up in the Western Conference Finals with Game 4 on Tuesday. And with that, we have come to the end of Trust TV News Hour. Don't forget to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Eugenia Abu on behalf of the team. We thank you for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.